Welcome back to the ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel, and thank you for tuning in today. We have an absolutely riveting storyline to discuss that has taken the show by storm and left fans on the edge of their seats. The dramatic developments surrounding Drew, Willow, and Scout have created one of the most emotionally complex and tension-filled narratives that the show has delivered in recent memory. Today, we're going to break down every crucial element of this unfolding saga, analyze the motivations of each character, and explore the implications of the decisions being made that will undoubtedly reshape the landscape of relationships and trust within General Hospital. The proposal, Drew's desperate gambit. Let's dive right into the heart of this dramatic situation. Recently, Drew made a monumental decision that would alter the course of his life and the lives of those closest to him. He proposed to Willow, but this wasn't a proposal born from romantic impulse or a spontaneous moment of love. No, this proposal was strategic, calculated, and rooted in a very specific legal reality that Drew had come to understand all too well. Drew has been facing serious legal jeopardy. There's a shooting incident involving Drew, and Willow has been implicated in it. The charges against Willow are significant and carry substantial consequences. However, Drew discovered a crucial loophole in the legal system. If Willow and Drew were to become married, legally bound as husband and wife, then Willow would be protected from prosecution for the shooting. This is a profound revelation that gave Drew a clear path forward. He believed that marriage could be the shield Willow needed, the legal protection that could save her from the courtroom consequences she otherwise would face. The proposal itself was therefore multifaceted in its nature. On the surface, it appeared to be a romantic gesture, a declaration of commitment and love. But underneath, both Drew and Willow understood the true purpose. This wasn't about rekindling a romance or building a future together based on passion and genuine connection. This was about survival, about navigating a legal minefield, about using the institution of marriage as a protective mechanism. It was pragmatic, it was desperate, and it was a reflection of how serious the situation had become for Willow. Willow's internal conflict, the weight of indecision. Now, let's turn our attention to Willow, who found herself caught in an incredibly difficult position. When Drew presented the proposal, Willow didn't immediately jump at the opportunity, despite the very real legal protection it would provide her. Instead, she hesitated. She wavered. She was torn between the practical benefits of marriage and her own emotional reality. Willow's reluctance was rooted in something deeply personal and profoundly honest about her feelings. She did not want to reunite with Drew romantically. The relationship between them had evolved, changed, moved in different directions. They were no longer the couple they once were, if they had ever truly been that couple in the way marriage requires. Willow understood that entering into a marriage with Drew, even for legal protection, would be complicated by emotional baggage, history, and the fact that she simply wasn't interested in rebuilding a romantic partnership with him. This internal conflict that Willow experienced speaks volumes about her character and her values. She wasn't willing to sacrifice her emotional integrity simply for the sake of legal convenience. Yes, the charges against her were serious, and yes, marriage to Drew could solve that problem. But Willow recognized that there would be a cost to her own well-being, to her sense of self, and to her future if she agreed to marry someone she didn't want to be married to. This kind of moral clarity, this refusal to compromise her own emotional truth even when facing significant legal consequences, demonstrates the depth of Willow's character and her commitment to living authentically. Scout's intervention, a daughter's protective love. But this story takes another dramatic turn when Scout enters the picture. Scout, Drew's daughter, became aware of the situation. She learned about the proposal, about Willow's hesitation, and about the circumstances surrounding this potential marriage. And Scout had strong feelings about what she was witnessing. Scout made the decision to seek out Willow and have a conversation with her, a pivotal moment that would become instrumental in shaping the ultimate outcome of this entire saga. When Scout and Willow met, Scout expressed her perspective with remarkable honesty and clarity. Scout told Willow that she didn't want her to get back together with Drew. Scout didn't believe that her father deserved to have Willow return to him in a romantic capacity. Scout essentially gave her blessing for Willow to say no to the proposal. This intervention from Scout is particularly significant because it represents several important dynamics at play. First, it shows Scout's love and concern for her father, even as she's criticizing his worthiness. Scout isn't being cruel or dismissive of Drew. Rather, she's being realistic about her father's character and his limitations. Scout is essentially saying that while she loves her father, she doesn't think he's good enough for Willow, and she doesn't want to see Willow sacrifice her own happiness and emotional well-being for his legal convenience. Second, Scout's intervention demonstrates remarkable maturity and emotional intelligence. Scout recognizes that Willow's hesitation is valid and important. Scout understands that marriage is supposed to be about love and commitment, not just legal strategy. Scout is willing to speak truth to power, to tell an adult what she truly believes, even if it complicates her own family dynamics. This kind of honesty between people is rare and valuable. Third, Scout's protective stance toward Willow reveals something important about the relationships within this story. Scout cares about Willow. Scout values Willow as a person, not just as someone connected to her father. Scout's intervention is ultimately an act of love for Willow, expressed through the difficult choice to tell her father's love interest that she shouldn't marry her father. This complexity is what makes soap operas compelling and emotionally resonant. The decision: Willow chooses authenticity. After Scout shared her perspective, Willow made her decision. She decided to refuse Drew's proposal. This wasn't an easy choice, and the weight of the legal consequences undoubtedly pressed heavily on her mind. But Willow chose to remain true to herself. She chose authenticity over legal expediency. She chose her own emotional well-being over a convenient solution to her legal problems. Willow's reasoning for this refusal was sound and legally grounded as well. Willow knew something crucial. She was not the person who shot Drew. She was innocent of the charges being brought against her. She truly believed that the legal system would ultimately protect her, that truth and evidence would prevail, and that she would be vindicated when presented before a judge and jury. This faith in the legal system, combined with her unwillingness to enter into a false marriage, gave Willow the courage to say no. The significance of this moment cannot be overstated. Willow is choosing to face her legal troubles head-on, rather than circumventing them through marriage. She's choosing to believe in her own innocence and in the ability of the legal system to recognize that innocence. She's choosing to maintain her emotional integrity and her right to a genuine, honest partnership if and when she decides to marry. These are powerful choices that speak to Willow's character and her values. The aftermath. What this means going forward. Now that Willow has refused the proposal, the story moves into a new phase with tremendous implications for all the characters involved. Drew must now face his legal situation without the protection he was hoping marriage would provide. This forces him to confront the reality of his circumstances directly, without trying to work around them through technicalities or legal loopholes. For Willow, refusing the proposal was an act of courage, but it also means she must now navigate her own legal case without the protective shield of marriage. She will have to appear in court, present her case, and trust that her innocence will shine through. This is a much more vulnerable position than marriage would have provided, but it's a position she chose because she valued her authenticity more than she valued immediate legal protection. For Scout, her intervention in this situation reveals her as a character willing to stand up for what she believes is right, even when it complicates her family relationships. Scout's actions demonstrate that she has her own moral compass and is willing to follow it, regardless of the personal cost. This entire narrative arc speaks to deeper themes about love, authenticity, family loyalty, and the importance of remaining true to oneself even when facing significant challenges. It's the kind of complex, emotionally layered storytelling that has made General Hospital a beloved soap opera for decades. The characters aren't making simple good or bad choices. They're navigating murky moral territory where different values come into conflict with each other. character development, and relationship dynamics. What makes this storyline particularly compelling is how it develops each character in meaningful ways. Drew's proposal reveals his willingness to use legal strategies to solve emotional problems, his desperation to protect Willow, and his perhaps misguided belief that he can simply engineer a solution to every problem. It shows both his care for Willow and his limitations as a person. Willow's hesitation and ultimate refusal reveal her strength, her clarity about her own needs and desires, and her refusal to compromise her emotional integrity even when facing legal jeopardy. She's a character who knows what she wants and isn't willing to settle for less, regardless of the consequences. Scout's intervention is perhaps the most dramatically satisfying element of this entire arc because it brings a fresh perspective and an unexpected voice into the conversation. Scout isn't a romantic character in this narrative. She's a voice of reason and conscience. She's the person who speaks the truth that Willow needs to hear at exactly the moment she needs to hear it. The legal and emotional stakes. The legal situation Willow faces is serious, and this shouldn't be minimized in our discussion. Being accused of shooting someone is a grave charge, and the legal consequences could be severe. However, Willow's confidence in her own innocence suggests that she believes the evidence will support her version of events. She believes that there's proof of her innocence, that there are witnesses or forensic evidence that will exonerate her, or that the prosecution simply doesn't have a strong enough case to secure a conviction. This confidence in the legal system is interesting because it often conflicts with real-world experiences where innocent people face conviction and guilty people walk free. However, in the world of General Hospital, where storylines often resolve in ways that are dramatically satisfying, if not always realistic, Willow's faith in the system may be warranted. Her refusal to marry Drew, despite the legal risk, suggests that she has information or confidence that we, as viewers, haven't yet been fully informed about. The emotional stakes, meanwhile, are equally compelling. Willow is protecting her right to emotional authenticity and her right to marry for love, not legal convenience. She's refusing to sacrifice her future happiness for a present solution. She's trusting that she can handle her legal troubles without compromising her emotional well-being. This is a powerful statement about prioritizing emotional honesty in an often dishonest world. The role of family in decision-making. Scout's role in this narrative also highlights the important role that family plays in major life decisions. Scout didn't stay silent. She didn't accept her father's plan without comment. Instead, she spoke up, shared her perspective, and influenced the outcome. This is a reminder that family members often have insights into our character that we ourselves may not fully recognize or may downplay. When Scout tells Willow that she doesn't think her father is worthy of her, she's making a bold statement about Drew's character. She's essentially saying that her father has flaws, limitations, and perhaps moral shortcomings that make him unsuitable as a life partner. This is a hard truth for a daughter to speak about her father, but Scout speaks it because she cares about what happens to Willow. This dynamic also raises interesting questions about what we owe to the people we love and how we should factor in the perspectives of those closest to us when making major life decisions. Willow could have dismissed Scout's perspective as the opinion of a teenage girl who simply doesn't understand the legal stakes. Instead, Willow listened, considered, and ultimately agreed with Scout's assessment that she shouldn't marry Drew. Conclusion: a story of courage and authenticity. As we wrap up our discussion of this riveting General Hospital storyline, we can see that what started as a straightforward legal problem, how to protect Willow from prosecution, has evolved into a much more complex narrative about authenticity, family loyalty, and the importance of remaining true to oneself even when facing significant challenges. Drew's proposal was an attempt to solve a legal problem through marriage, but Willow recognized that this would come at a high and emotional cost. Scout's intervention provided the external perspective that helped Willow see clearly what she might have overlooked under the stress of her legal situation. And Willow's ultimate decision to refuse the proposal and face her legal troubles on her own terms demonstrates remarkable courage and conviction. This is the kind of storytelling that makes General Hospital such a beloved and enduring series. It's not just about the dramatic plot points. It's about how characters navigate complicated situations while trying to maintain their integrity and authenticity. It's about family members looking out for each other, even when it's difficult. It's about characters making choices based on their values rather than just their circumstances. The consequences of Willow's decision will undoubtedly continue to unfold in future episodes. We'll see how her legal case develops, how she faces the challenges ahead, whether her faith in the legal system is justified, and how her relationships with Drew and Scout evolve in the wake of her refusal to marry Drew. But regardless of how those future storylines develop, Willow's decision in this moment will stand as a testament to her character and her commitment to living authentically. Next, we will learn about the issue-raising eyebrows all across Port Charles as Ric Lansing's sudden return to Sonny Corinthos' inner circle sparks suspicion, tension, and a battle of instincts that could determine the fate of several characters. What seems like a convenient alliance is beginning to look more like a trap, and fans are bracing for the fallout. For decades, Ric Lansing has walked into Sonny's life like a storm. Their relationship has always hovered somewhere between volatile and catastrophic. Every time they attempt peace, it crumbles under the weight of old betrayal. They've never managed to stay on the same side for long, and trust has never existed between them, not even briefly. Yet now, in a bizarre turn of events, Sonny has hired Ric to defend his grandson in court. The decision has confused fans and stunned even those closest to Sonny. Lulu Spencer, Dante Falconeri, and Laura Collins all greenlit the move without blinking, despite the fact that not one of them would trust Ric with a coffee order, let alone a legal case this important. The bigger question is what convinced Sonny to take this leap. He has always operated by instinct, and those instincts have kept him alive. But in this moment, his judgment appears clouded. Perhaps he believes Ric's legal brilliance outweighs his moral instability. Perhaps he thinks Ric is motivated by family loyalty. Or perhaps Sonny is simply desperate. Whatever the reason, the decision places a snake right at the heart of the Corinthos family, and fans know better than to assume Ric has changed. Ric Lansing has made a career out of playing reformed. He breezes into town with promises of redemption, heartfelt apologies, and claims that he has seen the light. He has done this so many times that anyone paying attention can recite the script. Ric presents himself as a man humbled by past mistakes, then slowly reveals the same manipulative habits that defined his earlier years. He has already started with the classic move, appealing to Elizabeth Baldwin for understanding, insisting that he's different now. But this tactic is familiar. We've seen it before, and fans are not buying the performance. Some viewers believe Ric is running a long con, one that Sonny cannot see. And then there's the growing theory that aided Justine Turner may be involved. Justine, who has spent weeks locked in a complicated dance with Sonny, could easily be part of a scheme that requires Ric's presence. Their interactions in the courtroom have left viewers uneasy, not because of open conflict, but because of the subtle, sit-along glances and the tension humming beneath the surface. If Ric and Justine are secretly aligned, Sonny might be walking straight into a setup orchestrated by two very intelligent adversaries. Justine is already a puzzle. When she first appeared on screen, she challenged Sonny with fire and discipline. She resisted his magnetism, brushed off his flirtation, and showed no fear in calling him out. Longtime fans immediately recognized the pattern. Sonny has a history of becoming entangled with women in law enforcement. The chemistry always starts with sparks and ends with heartbreak or betrayal. Justine fit the mold from day one, even if she pretended she didn't. Over time, however, cracks began to form. Justine's stance softened. She found herself drawn to Sonny in subtle ways, smiling more freely, lingering in conversations, allowing moments of warmth to replace the hard lines she once drew. The shift was small but significant. Now, fans wonder whether her emotional pull towards Sonny has left her vulnerable or if she is simply setting him up for a bigger fall. Adding to the tension is the strange coincidence that Justine's car broke down near Sonny's home. She appeared in need of help, perfectly placed on his path at the perfect moment. Sonny, still believing her intentions are pure, offered assistance without hesitation. But viewers noticed the timing. Ric also resurfaced around this same moment, presenting himself as supportive brother and legal champion. To many, this looks less like coincidence and more like orchestration. The possibility that Ric and Justine may be working together cannot be ignored. Ric has always hated being underestimated, and this situation gives him a strategic advantage. Justine, too, has motivations we only partially understand. If the two of them are aligned, they could easily use Rocco Falcone's case as the perfect pressure point to gain leverage over Sonny. They could undermine him, expose him, or manipulate him into revealing weaknesses he usually hides. And Sonny, for the first time in a long time, is showing cracks. He is stretched thin emotionally. He is trying to protect his grandson, manage a fragile relationship with Nina, and keep control of his empire while facing threats from multiple sides. In such a vulnerable state, he may be blind to the danger he invited into his own home. Fans can practically picture the moment the truth comes out. Sonny realizing that Ric used his desperation against him. Justine turning her badge into a weapon aimed directly at his family. Lulu, Dante, and Laura wondering how they allowed Ric into the room in the first place. And Rocco stuck in the middle of a legal nightmare that becomes a tool in a broader, more sinister agenda. General Hospital spoilers suggest this story is far from over, and the danger is only beginning. Ric Lansing does not enter quietly, and he never exits without leaving damage behind. Whether he is running his own game or teaming up with Justine, one thing is certain: Sonny Corinthos is standing on unstable ground. Stay tuned, because this brewing storm is about to hit Port Charles hard, and the fallout could change alliances, expose secrets, and reignite old rivalries in ways no one is ready for.